Contrast Uncut, yeah, you know that's us. Where we only speak the real and the real rock with us. Where we motivate the people and politic on success. Oh no, we ain't DJ Khaled, but they swearing we the best. Contrast Uncut, contrast Uncut, contrast Uncut, contrast Uncut.
What's happening? It's Contrast Uncut, Season 4, Episode 49. I want to give a big shout out to Uncle Snoop's Army and Bobby D Presents. I appreciate you, brothers. It's your host, Zylo, aka DJ Juan Dollars Like I Want Some Money. Today, we have two really dope, incredibly special guests. They're from the patch, you feel me? The field, Bakersfield, California. These two brothers comprise one of the, my most favorite podcast to listen to, a Trucker'S Mind podcast, where you have a full-time trucker, Class A driver traveling up and down these highways Monday through Friday, and then the other brother to my right is a media jack of all trades, a director, producer, operator. I may have to catch my breath to say all his titles, editor, a graduate of New Mexico State University with a degree in animation and film. Where, they have a line, these two brothers have a line together, their day-to-day to mix with current events to bring you an entertaining and informative show. They do all things a podcast should. Make you laugh, make you think, make you enjoy yourself. And that's something a lot of people got fucked up, is that they don't organically enjoy themselves and they trying to force some shit on some people. These brothers right here don't force shit. They force what they feel and what they've done some research on, and then you make yourself like, man, they right. Oh, but he right too. Oh, this shit's getting good. Let me keep on listening. And if you don't know who I got on the show by now, it's all good. We got the brilliant minds behind the Trucker'S Mind podcast. I'm talking about Fings, a.k.a. Keith Fingers. And I got, Ed Mcgee, a.k.a. Eddie McGee, everybody. How you doing, brothers?
Great,
good,
man. Great.
Appreciate the intro.
Blessed and highly favored, man.
Yeah.
That's right. I gotta tell both you gentlemen from the jump, I appreciate y'all time, appreciate y'all fucking with me, fucking with the viewers, the listeners.
100%.
Thank you for being transparent,
Yeah.
Y'all have no idea what's to come, so.
I'm ready.
It's a journey, man.
It feels weird, normally we doing the talking and asking the questions.
Right.
Oh yeah, no, I'm enjoying this. I came on the show earlier in the year, and I was like, oh yeah, let me sit back. Oh yeah, these brothers got me comfortable. I feel like we're not going on the script, but I'm comfortable. They comfortable, we running.
That's right. Run that shit.
Yeah.
But speaking of running it, speaking of time too, what's the normal 24 hours for you fellas? Whoever wants to go first, I want people to understand, what does it take to not only do what you love to do, but how you get there?
Oh, well, for me, I'm a truck driver. I'm a fuel hauler. So I haul gasoline. So I'm doing that Monday through Friday. My days consist of anywhere from 11 to 14 hours a day, right? So my days are long, but I generate content in my head. So as I'm driving, I'll think of something, call Kieth, we'll hop on the horn, talk about it. I could jot down voice notes to put on my pad. So I'm constantly creating, but it's more of a mental thing for me instead of actually being in a space with other creators. So throughout that, I'm mainly just making a living for myself. But on the weekends, that's when I get my feet to the ground and put out content.
That's where you apply that 60 hours of work and knowledge into
100%,
play.
100%. If you say you love something, you have to dedicate some part of your day to it every single day. And by the time Sunday comes around, since we record Sunday, that's when we could really put out some good shit.
You brought up something so important that, I said from the beginning about how you guys don't force nothing.
Right.
When somebody really loves something like, you love your girl, someone, they could see the love
100%
in the air.
Right.
When you guys speak, you can hear the love of trying to get to the listeners and everybody.
Right. And
I'm happy you brought that up because people, like I said, they force so much. It's called false hope.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Your number 24 is Keith.
For me, if we really doing a midnight to midnight, it probably starts at like midnight and me still being up from the previous day. So I'll probably go to bed sometimes like 1 something, 2 something in the morning. just like brainstorming, thinking about different things. I may be editing, and maybe whatever was carried over from the previous day, or I might be on the road with Zylo, on the freaking I-5.
Contrast adventures.
Yeah. So then, I go to sleep. I try to get like 6, somewhere in there, 6 hours of sleep, and then I'll wake up, and then that's like, sometimes it's a struggle getting out of bed, but I try to get up, get some breakfast in me. Then I come to the office where I'm doing anything from editing to shipping packages, to people across the country, or doing anything like
writing.
that. Yeah, writing, just being creative.
I didn't mention this brother is an artist and a full creator. He has a whole movie. He has raps on raps. He got collabs. He writes for some of your favorite artists, man. It's an inside joke.
We got. Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Like each day is different. Wednesdays, I work with the Class Clowns.
Shout out
Class Clowns.
Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe Saturday, I'm with Zylo, either doing a documentary or recording for his podcast or this podcast. Yeah, that's it's just it. Every day is different. It's taking on as it comes.
Yes, sir.
And then something else is that you pick up other side jobs too. You do music videos. You do so many different plethora of things. I mean, you literally probably had 10 different hats, and if you didn't change colors of the hats, you wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah. I think to me, it's all creative though. It's like we all do a podcast, but if ESPN hollered at us to do sports commentating,
take that out.
I talk already.
Right.
Ready.
Yeah.
So I got this quote, you feel me, brothers? Let me know how this quote relates to you guys. I want you guys both to weigh on it. And, if you don't know, the viewers know, I take quotes that I feel that, is going to relate to the subject. I go with the spirit. And I got like a 99% going rate. There was just one time that I didn't let the interview air, but I would talk about that 1%, but nobody ever know about it, but y'all just found out right now. So I got this quote. Let me know how it relates to you. Wise men speak because they have something to say. Fools because they have to say something. Plato.
I think that it's basically reserving your opinion or being very cognizant of the words that come out of your mouth. If you're a person that thinks before you speak, you can speak, but there's more value in that. But a fool is he's always going to have an opinion on everything, even if he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And I know a lot of people like that.
Yeah,
right?
Facts.
And it's probably one of the biggest turnoffs in regards to, relating to another human being. Because it's terrible. But yeah, that's what I take from it. It's just choosing your words and actually being thoughtful before you speak versus just fucking speaking.
Yeah, right. I'm right there with you. I think for me, like, especially working with you, we be in spaces where like not to just throw stuff out there, but we was in the studio with Zakari last night, right? And obviously, you go up, you introduce me or whatever, but I'm chilling. Like I ain't trying to, hey Zakari, like come on our podcast. You just kind of play your part.
100%.
So I think especially in a way that we are all moving, we have to be mindful of that thing. Like it'd be certain people, like we did Slink Johnson, and the only way I communicated with him was like through cameras. You know what I mean? I wasn't trying to force myself on him or say like, come on our podcast or I have a movie or these kind of things. I made a genuine connection, and we actually had shorthand information about cameras, and then that can divert to, hey, let's do a movie, let's do it. Yeah, that kind of thing. So it's just about, like you said, like I would say listen first always, and then, say what you got to say if it's of importance.
I picked this quote because as the viewers can see right now that you guys live by this, even though that I've been trying to say it from my intro, it's in the podcast, it's in you guys. 100%. And you guys are trying to put the game out for people to put on them. And when I read this, it was like, oh, this speaks to both of them. And they're going to explain it to people what they got fucked up. And that's exactly what y'all did. Y'all explained it like, man, y'all got this fucked up.
Yeah.
Listen, this is what you're not supposed to do.
Right. Yeah. Listening is just as powerful as talking.
Oh, facts.
So
say that one more time, bro. So they can get you in the back.
for all the people in the back, listening is just as powerful as talking.
Yeah.
You can take more from sitting back and just listening. And then by the time you actually speak, you've gotten enough information to sound credible. You know what I mean?
Come on, you could be a fly in the room, you could be a sponge. That fly gets spat and get kicked out the room, that sponge leave a whole mess in the room, and guess what? You get to clean it up too and talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It
100%.
was yesterday Zakaria was telling us a story about how he was like the little guy in the studio. You know, he would go in there, he would do his he might sing a hook and he would go in there and chill, put his headphones on and
Be in the back of the room.
Just chilling. But he was saying he soaked up so much information from
Oh yeah.
Terrence Martin, Kendrick Lamar, all these guys that's like dogs in the studio, and he took all that and he's putting it into his current work. But that comes from listening. Like if he was a big guy in the room, like, yo, I sing, I do this, it wouldn't work out how it did.
I compare it to being a second string quarterback. If you're if you're a second string quarterback,
but not to cut you off, but a young one,
right?
like first, second year,
Right.
still got
Understudy.
potential. Yeah.
And you're watching the guy in front of you that's starting, and you're learning, but you're also learning what not to do. So by the time you get put in that position, you're going to be at an advantage.
Yeah.
Because you should really have that notepad out taking those notes. So by the time you get put in that position, they're like, oh, you know that? Oh, you know that? All right.
You remember when Alex Smith got hurt?
Right.
Kaepernick hit the ground running.
Yeah, he did.
Literally.
Yeah.
You know, we wouldn't be talking about Tom Brady being the GOAT if he wasn't the third string quarterback that was ready.
Yeah.
You know, we can go that far. But I also wanted to put into attention that when we were around, you know, I'm bringing up Zakaria. This is a whole Bakersfield podcast. You know, shout out my hometown. Shout out Bakersfield.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to the town, man.
Some Zakaria was that he was really name dropping people, but so nonchalant. Like, I'm talking about Ed. I'm talking about Kieth. Like, and he talking about Kendrick Lamar. He talking about Freddie Gibbs. He's talking about, Skrillex and so many powerful people. But how smoothly he says it, it lets you know that he's literally in a world where those are his peers. Those are his co-workers, his comrades. Like, and he's name dropping them, but he's not. He's telling, like, you feel me? I was at Ed's house, and Ed, one of the biggest TV stars now, and you know, it's no difference. Yeah. But when you're around these people, and that's something that we've been able to pick up on, is that you have to just treat everything like, you know, it's regular. It's regular.
You're supposed to be there.
There you go. You're supposed to be there.
When
Act like you're supposed to be there.
Like, maybe egotistically, when I walk in rooms and it's whomever in there, whether you got a Grammy, a plaque on the wall, whatever, I feel like I'm supposed to be
you
there.
Goddamn right.
Yeah.
Like me, I'm a truck driver. If I go into these spaces, I got something to offer. Yeah. I'm not just a truck driver. So when I go in there, they won't be like, hey, tell that guy to get the fuck out of here. You know?
Yeah.
Shit, your ass would get kicked out the studio. You know, talking about the podcast world, talking about talk shows, talking about, because I feel like you guys can take this podcast to a talk show. You guys can take this literally around the world and back with an audience to no audience, live to not live, like whatever you guys want to do.
Right.
So when I ask this question, I'm asking because the world knows of you, but they're about to really understand moving forward. And so I want to know, did the game choose you, this talk world, or did you choose the game? And I want to ask both you guys, but I want Keith to answer first because he's always reserved.
I would say the game chose me because I had a whole different plan for my life. And initially I wanted to be an architect, and I still do. I feel like that's an old man's game. Like, you can be 60 years old still designing buildings. But like, I'm in a young man's game now with this whole content. So like, but that was my mindset from elementary to, until I graduated pretty much. But as far as podcasting goes, me and Ed, we was just on the phone, chopping it up. Like, I'd be driving to New Mexico, like 15 hours, 14-hour trips. We'd chop it up for like 2 hours, just talking about everything from women to parents and holiday, whatever the case may be, just chopping it up. And then like, when it came time for me to graduate, we was just like, we already got a podcast. They just haven't heard it yet. So, we just started that. And then as far as like the artistic stuff, that's that's just something I was given. Not like I can't, that's just God. Like, I can't really explain that part. And then you just take that into, like, oh, I can draw. Well, like, maybe I can make a beat, or, maybe I could write a poem, or, you know what I mean? So you just kind of just start, spreading your limbs. But
I was watching the guy last night. That whole editing film shit, I don't have the patience for it. But being an architect and structuring everything, it goes hand in hand of editing and lining everything up and putting this in. Because if it doesn't flow, it doesn't meet the structure. It's not going to meet the viewer's eyes.
100%.
And we're going to have that unparalleled. Huh?
So we'd be falling through the floor right now if it wasn't for.
Yeah.
But the funny part about that, not a lot of people know, but a lot of the first filmmakers in Hollywood, like back in the 20s and the 30s, they came from, they were architects first. Like a lot of those Jewish people that went to Hollywood and whatnot, a lot of them was architects, because there's no such thing as a film director. But, they changed careers and they decided to shoot movies and stuff like that. So that's what.
Oh, wow.
And even Ice Cube, I believe he took like drafting classes and architecture classes and stuff.
If you think about animation and correlating the two, your mechanics on the computer, you're doing everything that you would do for your animations that you would have to structure for architect to build your building and all your details.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because, you go back to the 1920s and Disney, that's all they had was architect figures. I mean they're
drafters.
Yeah, but they were so detailed. They're using lead. Like they're using everything you would use to build a house.
Yeah.
And that's the whole drawing. It was just like, oh shit.
So
That's Little Mermaid? No way. that's what you would call it. What was the other one that fucking blew my mind that they drew? With the little rabbit and the clock that pops out, Alice in Wonderland.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That shit's crazy.
They doing all that with number 2 pencils.
Yeah. That's nuts, man.
And that's the number 2 that make you get cancer. So, Ed, same question to you. Did you know what the podcast world choose you, or did you choose that game? Like, how does it weigh on you?
I feel like it chose me because I've always been a person who's been a talker. I've always loved talking, but I think that there was certain phases in my life prior to the whole podcast world. What people don't realize is, for one, me and Keith's best podcasts have never been recorded. They were on phone calls years ago.
Yeah, facts.
Right?
Yeah.
If we really had that content out, we have freaking 400 episodes by now. But anyways, I had a YouTube channel a long time ago, probably like 7 years ago, and I opened it up and I just started speaking my mind about certain issues, and people started like subscribing to it, right? But I wasn't in a space yet where I was, I won't say secure, but I wasn't ready for all the scrutiny that came with it. There's a bunch of negative comments and all this. I said, no, that's it. So I deleted the account. But the passion was there, right? And
the light went off.
Yeah, the light went off. And then years go by, I'm driving and we're having these conversations, and then I got introduced to podcasts, and I'm thinking like, fuck, I could do that. I would love to do that. And then it just organically, one day we had a conversation, and he was like, I'm coming over with the mic and the interface. Let's do a podcast. And it just, I don't know, it came together so organically. It was kind of strange, but it's like we were meant to do this. And then from that first episode all the way to now, we've done 142 episodes every week. Yes. Like we've released content every week from episode 1 to now.
You guys like the yin to the yang. You're the fire starter, but he's the icebreaker. And literally, if you guys didn't catch it, I said bye twice, motherfucker. And that's literally what they're doing. They have 2 different raw elements of where you're catching the answer in 2 different ways, but it's literally the same answer. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's so deep that if you don't understand what's being said, that's the greatest part about podcasts. You can rewind that shit back.
Yeah.
Go ahead, help the views. Help the views.
There you go.
Yeah. But going back to what he was saying, we started out on 1 mic though.
Yeah, we did.
We had a little mic stand, and then one of these Audio Technicas.
Yeah.
Sat it right in the middle.
And we just
I'll
talked.
say something. Yeah, say so, not, you know.
So you forced it. Like, I'm tired of talking about it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
But you had the idea, the name of the show, or how did these two things merge into it being so organic? Because, you know, you take two negatives, you get a positive. You take too much force and you get a whole new opportunity brought out of you.
Well, actually, I had a podcast by myself first. A lot of people don't know this. I had it first, but I was doing it from an app called, I don't want to plug them, but I was doing it from I was doing it from an app, right? I was doing I was by myself, and I did it while I was actually driving. So you heard too much engine noises and stuff, but it was just my thoughts. And eventually I ended up deleting that content and deleting that app because it was just, the quality was too fucked up. And then, you know, Kieth knew of it. But then Kieth had the idea, let's just do a podcast. And we did it from the mic and whatnot. And we did it from one mic, but the advantage me and him had is I've known Kieth since he was like 8 years old. So we kind of understand, you know, when one person's done talking and when another person jumps in. So our relationship is deeper than the average podcasters. If you start a podcast now with 4 motherfuckers that you just known for 2 years, it might get fucked up because you guys you're not gonna know when you're gonna stop talking and what's on your mind. Like, Kieth could pick what's in my brain. He said stuff before I've said it. So that's where we have that dynamic. But yeah, we did it from one mic. And that happened because when you're not sold on something right away, I'm thinking like, I ain't buying no mic. I don't know how this is gonna work. And we did a few episodes, and I was like, you know what? Let me buy a mic. And then we started investing money in, you know, mics and equipment and, you know, interfaces and all kinds of stuff. You know, even up to the space that we're in now. So, yeah.
Something you guys had from the beginning that it takes people in this field, either that's their way out because they can't get it, is transitions, knowing when to speak, knowing when to shut up, knowing when to take off what they said, but also knowing when to go ahead and get out of that conversation and use it as a segue. Right. And a lot of people will sit there and be like, oh, we rambled about the same thing and it was the dopest thing ever. And it's like, motherfucker, y'all talked about the same thing. You said it. You said it. Like, you went ahead and did a circle on what you said, and what's the point of what you're doing?
Yeah. True.
And you guys had that from the jump, and that's something that you guys got to know is a gift.
Yeah.
There's people right now still trying to teeter-totter. That's why, you know, they've been in the radio world for 30 years, but they're still, you know, the assistant, and I get to talk on the third Thursday of the month, but they enjoy it.
Yeah.
I ain't talking about nobody.
One thing I will say, though, is like, you can get better at communicating.
100%.
And that's something that, like, I feel like I'm a decent communicator right now, but I'm going to start reading books on communication and just try to elevate that skill. Because I was watching this video with Warren Buffett, and he was talking about, like, imagine if people put in however much work to just become a little better communicator, how much more money they would make, how much,
that's a great point.
How much more successful they would be just because they can communicate things in a concise manner.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny you bring this up. You're taking me back to going to my Saturday mornings. You know, cartoons just went off. Now I'm watching college football. Yeah. And everybody that said what their major was communication. All these football players was communication. And I remember being a kid like, I know how to communicate. Why the fuck y'all need a degree for this? Like, maybe you need something in another language. Is it like foreign language communication? Maybe that's the backstory of it. And I didn't know it. You know, I'm like 9, 8 years old. And I got my own thing to it. And right now, how you guys are saying communication, it brought me back. Like, everybody at Georgia Tech, defense was on communication.
Whole squad.
Cheating. But I mean, communication is what the key is for successful politicians, the key for successful marriages, the key for successful parenting. I mean, to jobs. I mean, you just can't say, motherfucker, go take the trash out. You have to say, hey, man, you please take the trash out. You did a great job.
Yeah, that's a skill.
100%.
Not to be able to, like, talk down to somebody, but to say, like, hey, can you please take the trash out?
100%. Yeah, and also knowing how to communicate to different people, because some people, you have to understand the temperature of the people you're talking to. So this one guy over here who may be completely unmotivated, you say, hey man, we got to do this. We got to do this so we can get this done. Hey, I appreciate you. So now he's getting an incentive from you, like telling him a certain way. Then there's the person you really don't have to tell anything. You just say, hey, thank you. You know, it's like endless, like it's an endless nuance.
It's crazy because there's 3 ways of people to understand and process things, but all 3 of them connect to one thing: it's communication and taking the time to invest into that.
Yeah, 100%.
And you guys have definitely invested into your guys' communication skills because, shit, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, one thing I will say, I remember, like, going back to what you were saying, like, I remember you saying, like, how people speak to different or communicate to different people.
100%.
I remember, like, all of my football coaches, for the most part, was like, got, you know,
yeah, exactly.
Chudy,
100%.
Coach Gullah, these are, like, high energy guys. Yeah. And they'll yell at you. Coach Chudy will cuss your ass out. But none of those coaches ever really yelled at me. Yeah. And I think that's part of, as much as you can say, like, he's a poor communicator, he should learn how to articulate himself better without cussing people out. Like, whatever it was, whatever clicked in their head, like, they always knew, like, to talk to me like a normal person. But everybody else, like, they'll light a fire under you because, you know, that's what you need.
Yeah, that's
it's your temperament, too.
Yes, exactly. I was going to say that.
It's like, no, we was in Vegas and, like, we're doing a documentary. We're inside a hotel room. It's a whole bunch of people doing the documentary. Their family come, and so like we're all indulging, having a good time. Keith's like, you know, doing this thing away from everybody, and then Keith decides to put on his eyeglasses. He was quiet the whole time, but as soon as he saw him put on his eyeglasses, they was like, I don't know who this brother is. He gonna be successful. I want him to kill me. But, you know, but it was just like all these different emotions attached because he was so quiet, reserved, while everyone's so engaging. It was like, all right, he's a ticking time bomb. Oh, but he put the glasses on.
Yeah,
now he don't seem so like scary. Like, mind you, these people, you know, they factors in.
Less is more.
Every time.
Less is more. It's very true. Like, Keith is a person that's not going to give you very much. But, I mean, I'm that way too, but once I start to get to know people and stuff, then it's a little different. Yeah, Keith is probably the epitome of that. Like, he's not really gonna say a lot.
No, shit. Sometimes I'll be like, you know, as it's getting out, you guys, he helps me a lot. So I'll be like, I just roll and I was like, bro, I haven't talked to you in a week. I just talked your ear off for 2 hours. And then like,
how you doing?
I'm walking into people's places like, hey man, how y'all doing? I just talked Keith's ear off for 2 hours, and it's just because he takes so much in. He puts what he needs to be put back out.
100%.
He don't drag too much into it, and that's some of the things that you have to appreciate. He don't force nothing on anybody. No. Like, I didn't know you guys. Like, I knew you guys did stuff, but I didn't know what exactly to the video content you guys did. So I meet someone in class clowns, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's what we do with Keith on Wednesdays. This is what Keith does on Wednesdays."
Yeah. I just never like to force myself, and it might be like. Probably just being aware, like reading, like I said, reading the room, but also like a slight insecurity. And not that I feel like I'm not talented, but it's just like, you know, it's just like, I don't need to tell what I do to everybody.
I don't think that's what it is. I just think Keith doesn't do things for credit. He does things because he genuinely wants to do them.
He don't need validation.
Yeah, when you don't do things for credit, the way you move is different. You can tell when people do things for credit because they're constantly looking for affirmation. Yeah. They could like eat a bowl of cereal. Look, y'all, I just ate a bowl of cereal.
Do I feel great?
Yeah, who gives
a fuck?
Why are you posting that on Instagram?
Yeah, who gives a fuck about your bowl of cereal, man? What's your deal? What's going on?
Shit. That's comedy.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Bowl of cereal.
Yeah.
You know what? Like, I love how you guys personally fuse in your personal life. You guys fuse in what you guys go through day to day. Like, literally, as we're talking about on the show right now, we're talking about day to day with everybody. And you guys do that naturally. It's not so easy for me because I try to stay reserved. Mm-hmm. You go from that moment of like, I need to tell everybody what I do so I can build to like, I don't want nobody to know what I do because they're going to fucking start asking me stuff.
Yeah.
And you get that moment of like, you know, that clarity of, okay, you know, that people respect what I do and you keep on going. And like when I watch you guys, and what I love is that you guys throw haymakers, not jabs. Like, you guys are right into the mic with facts, and it's never fiction. It's barbershop talk without the extra noise and without the haircut. And I mean, you guys
got no hair.
Yeah, I ain't got no hair, man.
Yeah, normally you guys don't see this brother because he got a hat on and they don't have video. But yeah, shit. Actually, he got hair, you guys. That's why he got the hat on.
Yeah, it's been receding since the age of 25.
Man, shout out to that barber.
Yeah.
But I mean, y'all are cut from a different cloth when it comes to authenticity and just genuine passion for your show. And it translates. You know, that's something you could transfer the heat from. And I was just like, man, how did you guys structure the show together? Like, you know, for the viewers to understand how this formula pretty much became A plus B equals C. Ain't no squares in here.
Man. I think, like we were saying, you know, a lot of it stemmed from phone conversations already. So...
but at what point were you guys like, this phone conversation, hey, we need to talk about this and then shut up and transfer to this? Like, at what point did you guys start having the light go off for like, all right, we should format, we should put a real structure?
I think I think I got introduced through podcasting through the Brilliant Idiots. Like I followed Charlemagne, and then Andrew Schultz kind of started popping up. So when I was driving back and forth to New Mexico, I just popped one in, and I was like, yo, this content is crazy. So I shared it with Eddie, and that's our, like, I guess our OG, you know what I mean? So when we started doing ours, we were like, oh, they talk about their life. They talk about women. They talk about, you know, they experience in the game and stuff like that. So we came with that, but we also came, initially it was more of our life. We was like, we don't even want to talk about Casanova or Lil Durk or whoever the rapper is getting arrested at the current time. Like, we was like, let's just talk about...
Scandalous. My bad.
But let's just talk about what we dealing with. Let's talk about our relationships. Let's talk about our family. Let's talk about our job. Because, you know, a lot of times we would come in and we'd be like, I hate working here, but this is a gym that somebody out there listening to us can relate. They can take from that. So,
I think where the structure and everything came, it just came kind of organically. It was basically, we would bounce things off each other, and Kieth would be like, does that sound good? I'd be like, that sounds good, let's do that. And then I'll bounce something back. He said, that sounds good. And if it's not good, we will mutually be like, that doesn't work. I think that's where that whole dynamic comes in again, because I've known him for so long that, like, if something's kind of corny and I bring it up, he'll be like, nah, that ain't gonna work. And I'll be like, all right. We don't really have real disagreements in that regard. We could disagree on the podcast, but when it comes to what we're going to do on it, we don't have like the knockdown dragouts. That's where the advantage is. There's been people on, I'm not going to say any names, but people who had podcasts together and they fell out over money and fell out over how things are supposed to go, and that's just because the relationship's not strong enough. My advice to anybody that's going to do this is do it with someone you have a really strong bond with, that you've known for 10 or 12 years. Because if you do it with somebody you met 2 months ago, they're gonna start flaking out. Like, I could rely on Kieth every week. He could rely on me every week.
You know, I could personally attest to and testify to this. I seen that how these brothers was doing their podcast, and I was like, oh shit, they're from Bakersfield. And I'm like, all right, I need to tap in and try and fuck with them. I sent a DM to both you guys.
Right, yeah.
Kieth did not respond to me.
No.
You know, I'm telling the world now. we partners now. I go let off a whole magazine and for Brad. Like, you feel me? I fuck with Kieth. He's a writer. Yeah. But, you know, he didn't respond to my DM. Ed did. And Ed was like, man, I'm going to check you out, but I got to go holler at my folks. I just can't have you come up here. And that was something I knew from the very beginning, that your guys' tangible creativity was something you guys bounce back and forth. And that's something, like I said from the beginning, you can't force that shit.
100%. I mean, I have to check with Kieth, because without Kieth, this podcast doesn't go, you know? So, and that's going both ways. But, like, if Kieth brings up someone, like, I think they'd be pretty good for the podcast, and I'd be like, I don't know, you know? Or let's check it out. But I could rely on Kieth to say, hey, we need to talk to so-and-so, and I just do it. Because he's never been wrong, and I haven't been wrong, you know? But
we got 142 episodes. It'll be 143 tomorrow.
We don't have that many guests.
Come on.
We don't. When we had you, I don't know what number we were at, but we don't do a lot of guests. But when I had you, I checked out your stuff. Me and Kieth talked about it, and I got back to you.
Yeah.
But I also want to work with talent out here, because I feel like people talk so much shit about Bakersfield and about how boring it is and how sorry it is. But there's a creative world, there's like a sector of this city that has creators in it, right? Whether they're YouTubers, musicians that are very serious about what they do, you know, videographers, you know, photographers, those type of people. And I've met so many of these people now since this podcast has started.
Yeah.
Which is, it's awesome, man. We met you through there. We met all kinds of people.
You know, it's funny because I swear, like, you peeked at my shit. Is there like a mirror behind me where you can read my damn words? Because literally the next thing I wanted to bring into it, and you segued it for me, is I want to spend time speaking on the importance and the value of Bakersfield, California. What it brings to the dynamics of not only entertainment, but all these other thresholds in this world. I mean, hand sanitizer was created in Bakersfield.
Damn. I didn't know that.
Like,
I didn't know that.
Let that shit sink in. We in a time where hand sanitizer, they use that shit better than they use their own body wash. That was created in Bakersfield. You know?
Wild. Yeah.
And I mean, that's just one. We got like, there's so much of different talent. There's literally like bubble over to mainstream and beyond, like from sports to entertainment. I'm talking professional athletes, UFC, boxing, NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL, TV shows, like The Voice. To CW Stargirl, to TV anchors, to radio personalities, to DJs. Y'all see I ain't stopping. I'm still talking about Bakersfield.
Yeah.
Music and film producers, to artists, to directors, to NASCAR champs, to dancers, to singers in Kanye West's choir on Sundays.
Yeah.
I mean, to YouTube and social media influencers. I mean, with Bakersfield, it's such a hefty list. And I mean, you could literally make it out this motherfucker, out your own hometown, and not have to put yourself as a big city and get ran down because you think that's supposed to be your life. You don't have to get on a train and live by the train and sleep at the beach and think you're going to become a movie star. You can do your own shit and structure your skits here.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Honestly, dude, I think there's an advantage to living here. I think that because this is not a creative-based city like a Los Angeles or whatever, that when you create something here, it's magnified. So what happens is the people that live here are going to subscribe to it, right? They may be they're going to front on you for a while. They're going to front on you. They're going to front on your podcast. They're going to front on your music, because what happens is people are group thinkers. So you could be a great artist or a great podcast, but they're going to sit back and wait.
Yeah, if you ain't Blake Shelton, you ain't Beyonce, who else sell out this motherfucker? Because they don't sell out to the day, except for a few people.
Right. Yeah. They're going to sit back and they're going to wait. They're going to front on your shit. And that's okay, because we're going to keep working regardless. And then all of a sudden you be like, wait a minute. Keith and Eddie had fucking Snoop Dogg on their podcast? Who are these guys? Like, who are these people? And then what's going to happen is this is going to take off. The reason why this whole interaction and being on your platform is important too, because we can go back, once me and Keith and you or wherever we're going to be, we can go back 3-4 years back and be like, those guys were on Zylo's podcast 4 years ago.
Shit, I was on your guys' podcast.
Yeah, so that's the beautiful thing about it. It's almost like it's a timestamp.
Yeah.
Right? It's proof, it's evidence.
It's on wax.
Yeah. If you look back at like Russ as an example, the artist, you look at his shows, or Hardly Nobody's There, and he's got like 12 listens on SoundCloud and all that shit, and he kept going up. He just kept going after it. 11 albums flopped. 11 albums flopped.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, 11. You know how disheartening that is? That could make anyone quit.
But he's the best in the world?
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah,
Oh, that's all.
Best on there.
Yeah. Yeah. But I guarantee you where he was from and wherever he was from, they fronted on him.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You don't need to do it. The proof is in the work. It's not an affirmation.
Yeah.
Right? You don't need to give me any fucking credit.
That's just a boost if you get it.
Right. But here's the thing. You don't need to give me any credit, but you will. Like you would. You're going to give me credit because you won't have a choice. But right now, it's cool.
I know for me, like, I remember when I was a kid, I always had this like small town mindset. Mm-hmm. Like when I was in elementary school and they would be like, yo, like what school do you want to go to? I was like, I want to go to Fresno State.
There you go.
I'm like, I like that underdog mentality. And then like, you know, I ended up going to New Mexico State, which is kind of a small school, but I always had that chip on my shoulder for being from a small town. I'm like, oh, okay, I went to New Mexico State, but when you see me at the Emmys or the Oscars, and these guys went to USC, or they went to Yale, or they went to NYU, and I went to New Mexico State, obviously on paper it don't look the same, but we still in the same place. Yeah. So,
Jerry Rice didn't go to a big college.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Steve McNair went to Alcorn State. So it's like, it's in the work.
Yeah.
You know, you could be wearing a $5,000 jacket, but if your value as a human being is way lower than that jacket, the fuck are you wearing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We gonna respect the jacket when we respect the person wearing it.
Right. Right.
Come on, shout out that fashion designer.
Yeah.
I
There you
remember
go.
I was talking to Braxton Huggins, and he was talking about playing basketball because he played in the Drew League and played against pro players and stuff. And he was like, it don't matter where you went to school, we got to step on the court. And that's how
There
I
you go.
approach it. Like, it don't matter what school, where you from, LA,
Yeah.
New York, whatever. Like, when it comes to content, like, we got to really do it. You know?
Yeah, you woke up and ate breakfast just like me, buddy. So when it come down to it, we're gonna get on these mics.
Yeah.
You know, we're not the podcast space. There is an abundance, right? So it's not like you're in competition. You're really only in competition with yourself to get somewhere.
Yeah.
But you can't front on the content that we're putting out because I know that it's valuable and it's, you know, I don't want to just go off on a tangent, but yeah. That's just how I personally feel.
I mean, bro, I get phone calls for like my show, and they will tell me like, "You're fair." When I watch your show, I know you're fair. You don't go digging into the negativity. You don't go digging into the stuff you see on Front Street. You find a way to fuse that where it's coming out of their mouths.
Oh yeah.
And that's something that I've been like real grateful to understand the gift of like, aha, like, oh, I didn't know I was doing that, and I was doing it over exclusive shit, and I was like, wow. Okay, how am I doing this? And then you have to reflect. And, you know, 2020 has allowed the greatest opportunity to reflect.
100%. 100%.
Even for you, like, I think the good thing about your show is that it may be a faster road or a road less traveled or whatever, or I would say a faster road if you did go lean into the messiness.
Right.
Like, oh, you know, I seen this happen, or, you know, you broke up with her. You know, it may be faster because that's clickbait like info. But what you have is after everybody finishes their interview, they like, yo, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That was better than such and such interview, or that was the best interview I had this year.
Man, I ain't gonna lie. He knows it. I'm gonna say it right now. I just got this one. I know someone that's been on Sway in the Morning as a regular. He do the Freestyle Fridays as a producer. Every time he come on, Sway give him an intro. He said, I do better intros than Sway. That shit fucked me up. I stopped everything. What was I supposed to be talking about? Because, man, that shit... Because, you know, Sway in the Morning is the GOAT.
Oh, yeah.
And his intros...
his
intros are dope, but I was like, I like what he does, but I'm not going to do what he does.
100%.
And then for someone to receive it, and I was like, that got me rocking like, yeah. But as we're talking about you guys, and I'm making sure we put the spotlight on you guys, and, you know, I'm grateful that you guys are speaking about me through this, but I don't want to take the spotlight off of you guys, and I don't want to take the spotlight off of Bakersfield. I got some talented people that's from Bakersfield that's done stuff where they're continuously doing stuff. And, you know, if I forget somebody, if there's anybody else you want to add on to this list, let's add it on there. I got like maybe 15 names, so excuse me, and I'm going to try to, you know, run through it. I got Mike Dow.
Yeah,
you know, shout out Mike Dow.
Yeah.
Had his first pay-per-view, BET sellout. I mean, did a show with Rock Nation. I'm talking about boxing-wise. That's big money.
Yeah.
You know, we've been talking about Zakari, TDE, 5-time Grammy nominated.
Shout out
you know,
Zakari.
Technically, he's won 4 of them Grammys, but you have to do 50% of the work on the albums to get it. So, he's Grammy nominated.
Yeah.
We got JP Bangs. We got Decades. You know, them two brothers both is gold and platinum producers. They got placements in movies, TV shows, and they both live in Bakersfield. Like, Decades just announced he's doing this big project with E40, Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, and Too Short.
That's crazy.
And he's producing the majority of it.
That's crazy.
Bakersfield.
Yeah.
JP Bangs is all across the United States.
You used to work with Decades, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Shout out, you know, Arkell the man.
Yeah, Arkell.
You know, Angelica Washington.
Actress.
She's been doing her thing. And she's the one that where they wanted to paint a stunt double that was white, black, and she said, I'm not going to do this role.
Yeah.
Come on, if you're going to face any type of adversity and risk it all, she did.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And look, she's still winning.
Yeah.
Once again, that's Bakersfield. That's putting a small town and overselling on what they believe they can do.
Yes.
And they're being delivered on what they're doing. We got Destin and Trinity Penn.
Yeah.
They travel the
I
world.
seen them at the Childish Gambino concert.
Yeah.
Come on, I ain't even gotta say that one.
Yeah.
But they do so much more. They took their talents and found a way to infuse it into the school district so that people in Bakersfield can know that, hey, we're traveling the world with Childish Gambino, and we're doing America? What's the name of the song?
This is America.
This is America. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're the one that's in the videos. They choreographed it, and they're shedding that light to everyone in Bakersfield and Bakersfield City school districts and teaching them how to dance.
Yeah, Desmond when I was working at a school, he was the dance teacher, and I met him. That was the first time I had met him in person. Obviously, I knew who he was, but I just shook his hand and just told him keep it going.
See, we got Julia Avila, UFC fighter. Mm-hmm. She been doing her thing.
Yeah, yep.
You got Miguel Contreras, another boxer.
Yeah, he nice too.
Yeah, he real nice.
Yeah. He undefeated. Yeah. He rep Bakersfield everywhere you go.
Yeah, he real nice.
You got Corbin Burns, played for the Milwaukee Brewers, a pitcher. Mm-hmm. He just signed himself a nice $50 million contract out of Bakersfield.
Chunk of change right there.
Yeah. I mean, we could say Derek Carr, we could say Korn, we could say Brian Hooks, Joey Porter. We could bring up Gregory Porter. People sleep on that brother. That's 7 times Grammy nominated.
Gregory's legit. People don't really know about him though, which is unfortunate. But yeah, he's talented, super talented.
Then we got Tyrone Wallace.
Yep. Shout out to Tyron, man.
He doing his motherfucking thing. Then you got Chris Childs. Everyone knows Chris Childs.
Oh yeah. Come on. Don't know.
Go ahead, look up Kobe Bryant and Chris Childs and leave a comment below. And you'll thank me later. Yeah. I mean, I love Kobe, but
honestly, we'd be sitting here all day running through the names. There's a long list of people that have done great things out of Bakersfield. Mm-hmm. There's a lot.
You see where I'm going with this?
I see where you're going. You
see where I'm going with this?
I see where you're going with this.
And I want to make sure that the viewers knows what's going on too. That these names I'm naming, they're going to be on Wikipedia. You're going to see these brothers' names on Wikipedia because they're not only changing the way we do things, they're changing the way we hear things, and they're changing the way how perception is being voided. And that is the whole point of why I wanted to give you guys your flowers, because Bakersfield has so much talent, but so many people are afraid of success. Mm-hmm. And you guys are saying, nah, fuck that. I got this itch, and this itch is not no tweaker itch. It's this good itch.
Right.
And it's feeling like a massage now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, there ain't no happy endings until you get to, the finish line and get the touchdown. But you guys are still continuing, and that's something I just want to keep on reiterating, bringing back to home. It doesn't matter what small town you're from or big town.
100%.
The main thing you got to do is keep on doing and pursuing it. And as well, I'm giving you guys your flowers, I want to hear about what your guys' most rewarding moment so far doing the podcast.
You want me to go first?
I can't point to a specific one. I could probably name a couple things, or just a general idea. I think one was having Todd Jones on the pod. Because knowing Todd, he's a huge YouTuber.
Yeah.
I didn't get to say Todd Jones and Kevin Edwards Jr. My bad.
Yeah. Shout out to them. But
YouTube knows who they are. They got the million subscribers.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely put a little Todd. A Trucker'S Mind podcast talks about Todd Jones. But having Todd on was it was kind of yo, we here. You know what I mean? And for having someone that's doing, content on that level. And obviously Eddie had a relationship with him, but for him to respect us enough to be
exactly.
Yo, come on Youre, and then hitting us up about it,
100%,
that was dope. And then outside of that, just you was with me yesterday, and you heard the guy who was asking about the pod, and I'm walking in like a fly on the wall. That's all I'm trying to do. And then but that's the type of stuff we see when 100%. We out, or people hit us up and reposting our stuff. So that's
So we in a TDE studio session last night, and we we didn't get told when to come. We just pop up. We walk in the room. Actually, we ain't walk in the room. We go outside and meet the artist that tells us to come out front. It's cold as fuck, but we're out there talking to him, freezing and shit. And shit was dope. We didn't care we was freezing. We go inside and the door closed. You go into them big studios. They got 2 double doors for the soundproof. If you get stuck in that motherfucker, you deserve to be stuck. But we walk in and I get to shaking people's hands and it's a respectful thing. I'm shaking an engineer hand, and we hear in the background oh, that's Kieth. And and he recognized him right away. Man, y'all do the stuff with DJ and man, the pod. And I was just man, we 100-some miles away.
Yeah.
We with a whole bunch of different people, and boom, they recognize what you do.
That's why. That was one of those ones where I was like, I was kind of caught off guard. Like, dang.
That's the beautiful
like,
thing.
But when we were sent, like when we say when we walk in the room, we supposed to be there. Like that's the type of affirmations you get.
Come on, that's a real affirmation. Not you just trying to force an answer out.
Yeah.
For you, Ed, most rewarding moment so far doing the podcast.
I can't speak to a specific moment, but
What sticks out?
What sticks out to me is when we get, or when we or I get an inbox from a listener about a relatable experience to a topic we talked about, and how much it made them feel at ease. Because there's things I've said on the podcast that may not put me in the best light, but I'm human, and I know the people that listen to the podcast are human also. Mm-hmm. So we could try to paint this bullshit narrative about, oh, this is this, but when you're a human being and you've been through these experiences, and people know you're being authentic, and they respond to you in a message, hey man, I felt like this, or I've been depressed, or this and this and that. Those are the most rewarding moments for me, because it means not only is someone listening, but maybe I helped someone. You know, I don't want to. I mean, I can say this, and this hurt, man. This is within the last week. There was a guy that I met while trucking. Obviously, a guy in Van Nuys. Shout out to Gore. And we used to have conversations, and he was a huge fan of the podcast. And he was one of the first people that really let me know how much he enjoyed our content, right? I never had to solicit the podcast or bother him or be like, hey, did you listen? Like, I don't do that. I never solicited the podcast. He would just tell me what he liked. And we would go back and forth in inboxes. Sometimes you get caught up in life and you don't get back with people as soon as you should, but I messaged him like in November, and I got a message from him recently. And it was his wife and under his account, basically letting me know that he had passed. And she thanked me for making his drives better. He mentioned our podcast to her. So it hurt knowing that he passed, but getting that type of a response, you know, that's powerful. Yeah. That's more powerful than any money or anything that we're going to get in the future. Knowing that somebody had invested in the content and it made them feel a certain way. That's what I do this for. That if look, here's the thing. We're not making money yet, but what's driving the content is how much we love what we do.
See it as passion that meets purpose that leads to financial growth and financial freedom. Mm-hmm. That's attracting the wealth and not realizing that you're doing everything you're supposed to do to attract it.
100%. The money is the cherry on top.
Yeah.
I do this
every time.
I do this shit because I really love doing it. Mm-hmm. You know, we're gonna do it tomorrow. It has become such, like, not only you say a ritual, it has become such a part of my life that I cannot see myself not doing it. Like, if somehow something where I couldn't do it, I'll probably feel sick. Because it's become such a part of my life.
Kieth, you better not call in sick on this, brother. Better go get a fucking shot like athletes do. Give him a shot. Give him a shot. Yeah. He'll bounce back.
If Kieth gets COVID, it's going to completely fuck the podcast up. We could talk about his COVID on Skype or something.
Nah, give him a cortisone shot. He gonna come in here. Fuck that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I hope I answered the question.
Nah, you did, brother. Because, like, you know, you once again, I feel like you're back over here reading my fucking script, and I don't have like a teleprompter behind the damn camera, but that's just me talking shit. So, you know, I did this interview a while back, and it was with Adrian Scott, AD. He's the guy that created Crush Group Concerts. He created the 90s West Coast radio format that K-Day uses today, and so on and so forth. And I'm like, I had this really great interview with him. We hit it off, going back and forth. I made him feel a little emotional. And I'm like, man, I think I'm finna like really build with him.
Right.
We get to the end of the interview, and I'm like, you know, I pretty much proposed like, hey, you know, how do we keep in touch? Like, you know, if there's anything you need from me, I can do it for you, and vice versa.
Right.
He was like, I don't want you to do anything for me. I want to see what you do in a year from now. And it was like, he acknowledged that I got something, but it's like, how long you gonna run with it?
That's
yeah.
And so, and I was just like, fuck, well, Crush Crew's been going now for, I think, 18 years. That K-Day format that he redid in 06, now it's 14 years. Like, he's done these things that he has some weight to tell me that.
100%.
So I was like, fuck, he fucked my whole shit up. And you know, right now I'm at like month 9 from him telling me that. So I got some shit to tell your ass, AD. But it leads me to talk about you guys. You guys are going into your 3rd year. As you guys said earlier, it's 142 episodes in. Tomorrow make 143. And that's 143 consecutive weeks. Let that sit in for the viewers. I'm going to weigh the same thing on y'all. What's the goal a year from now?
We definitely, I mean, I don't even want to talk about the small stuff. I feel like we deserve to be spoken about in the same likes of a Joe Budden podcast or a Brilliant Idiots podcast or in Joe Rogan podcast. I feel like above the monetization and all that stuff, I just want the conversation to be like, yo, these guys from Bakersfield that still do it in Bakersfield have content comparable to the best podcasters.
100%.
Yeah. So for me, and we already, 10,000 hours, we've been done did that.
We're over 14,000 hours of content.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. I want to be spoken with. I want to have conversations with these people, and for them to be equally as impressed by our work as
100%.
we are by theirs. So.
Yeah, 100%. And what the question again? I'm sorry.
Man, he said, fuck your question. No, what's the goal from your perspective of where a Trucker's Mind podcast will be a year from now? I definitely agree. You guys should be chart topping a year from now.
The goal for me is reach. I just want this podcast to reach as many people as it can because I know it's comparable to the best podcast out. And I'm only saying that not because I'm speaking objectively if I can, but there's no way you could sit there and tell me that I can't talk better than someone else. You can't tell me that Joe Budden or whoever else, they're just so much better at talking than you. Like, no. And it's not a competition thing. It's the fact that when it comes down to this is a human skill. And the skill that me and Kieth possess is right up there with your top podcast. And a lot of people, when they listen and they like it, they binge listen and they come back and say, man, me and my wife love your podcast, this and that. And I'm not letting the affirmation get to me. It's like when you become really self-aware, you understand what kind of energy and content you're putting out. So the goal for me is reach. I know if this shit reaches as many people as it can reach within the next year, we're going to be ranked somewhere. I don't give a fuck if we're number 993. That's high. There's a lot of fucking podcasts out there.
Yeah.
Something I'd want to point to attention to is you're saying the perfect words is reach. You guys are blessing others because you guys are doing something so organically unorthodox and filling the void that they're blocking their blessings by not receiving you guys in their homes.
Yeah.
Let that sit in one more time because I say that so smooth. I may not remember it.
But one other thing too is that we are doing it as in not a disrespectful way. Nobody's. All them podcasts that I spoke about before, these are famous people.
100%.
We're trying to do this from ground zero.
Right.
The only people that know me is people I went to school with or people I met through college or whatever.
Right.
But and we are growing. There's people that know me that I don't know now because of the podcast.
100%.
So
yeah, I think what's cool too, you mentioned we're doing this as nobodies, but we're somebody obviously. But I'm a truck driver for Christ's sake. I'm not some popular guy that's always on Instagram and doing all this shit. Like my bread and butter is my job right now. I'm using truck driving as a stepping stone to 100% of the time doing media. That's where I want to go next. So Kieth is a reserved, not a loudmouth guy. He's not a rah-rah person. So this actually restricts our reach, right? But what makes it organic is the content. So when people listen to the content, that's what they've invested in. They're not investing in this facade of this super cool guy, Eddie's so cool or he acts cool. No, they're investing in the content. And that's what's going to make the reach organic because they do this.
When he said nobody's, I actually almost had a tear in my eye because I've literally had opportunities taken away from me that I've manifested, invested in, and you get to that point where you're getting ready to score, and they decide to put in a different player to score for you.
Oh no,
And then
terrible. Yeah,
you get removed. Right. You know, I'm not gonna throw too much out there, but it's like I trip out. I'm watching Young Jeezy, and A Worth the Conversation has a lot of shit I was talking about on my show way prior, and then it's like, oh, how come he went from his podcast on iHeartRadio about this level of information to crossing over to going to praise and going into this road of digging into a worth of a conversation. I was just like, wow. But, you know, that's a part of the game. It's like, you know, if you don't have that belief in yourself that you are somebody and you keep on treating yourself where your value is below it, you'll have a situation where you're like me and you get to see someone with a name run with your idea and make it look better than you.
Yeah, it's okay. Just got to keep leveling up. That's all you can do. Like, and with me, I don't have I have these conversations with myself and Kieth. I don't say like, you know, if I become rich, I say when I become rich, when I'm a millionaire, when I'm in this position to give people jobs. And my objective is to be rich for me is not to be the motherfucker that's always got a new car and showing it off. It's to give opportunities to people. Yeah. Because I know how it feels to not have an opportunity and no one really wants to help you out. So once this shit really gets cracking, I'm going to be looking for other content creators. I'm going to be looking for other musicians or other people that have talent and try to move them to the forefront, specifically out of Bakersfield.
Come on.
I'm not going to be the guy like, well, I made it. I don't want anybody else to do anything.
You're going to be fucked up.
Yeah, like that's a scarcity mindset. I want everyone to succeed.
Don't judge me. I got them blast words. Like, I'm buying stuff I couldn't afford back then. I got some, you know, some maked up time, some rain check time, something where, you know, if I buy some shit, don't get mad at me. I may let you borrow it. I may forget about it. But you know what? I'm going to buy the shit.
I feel you, man.
Yeah.
100%.
You got to splurge a little bit.
Just a little.
Well, no, I feel you. 100%.
The kids got to see it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They got to know it's real.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely going to get some real diamonds. no more cubic zirconiums for me.
Hey, just make sure, like Nip, you know, leave the windows untinted so that they can see you.
No, I'm tinting my shit.
Bakersfield is too hot to
Let's follow him. Like, nah.
Oh shit. Speaking of which, once again, I feel like Ed's on my shit again. I have my awareness segment next. I'm gonna take a pause on the whole entertainment life, and you know, as we talking about driving, we're talking about, you know, my awareness segment. It's the red and blue lights. It's the high beam that hits the back of your neck and searches for everyone else in the car. And the next thing you know, you're hearing a blurp sound. We're getting pulled over. And I ask every guest of mine that come on the show that, you know, one, when was the last time you guys were pulled over? And two, what's the advice you give in the situation to get out the situation of being interacting with the police? Knowledge is power, but when you use that knowledge, it's a superpower.
I think the last time I got pulled over, it was probably like 2014. Thank God. And
yeah, my son's 6.
Yeah, so it was basically I had my car was kind of like electrical problems and whatnot. So basically, like my turn signal, it would cut on, and you would hear it in the car, but sometimes the light in the back wouldn't go, like it wouldn't go. So I hit my turn signal, and then I got over, and then the police was right there. So they blurted me up, pulled me over somewhere downtown, and I just remember like the police officer, he wasn't all with the rah-rah. He kind of pulled up and approached me. He was like, hey, gave me the rundown, like you didn't turn your turn signal on and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh, okay. I gave him my information, and it was pretty smooth. But I will say about that whole interaction was like, I didn't approach him with any negative energy. I took fault for everything that was going on. I know my car is a bucket. I know I can't, I ain't got no Porsche or none right now, so I take whatever comes with that, right?
And he ain't gonna leave the Porsche on the side of the road.
Right. Yeah. So, and then he took my info, and then we got to chopping it up, and then I, start to reveal more about myself. I'm like, I go to school and all this kind of thing. So he asking me questions about that, and then he just let me go. I don't even think he gave me a fix-it ticket.
Yeah.
I think he was just like, yo, get that fixed. And then, but I knew it wasn't anything wrong with it. It was kind of just like maybe a shortage in it or something. So, but I say that to say, like, you always want to approach those situations. Be mindful, especially a minority, be mindful that there's already some sort of animosity from the jump. So you want to present yourself, speak clearly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Enunciate your words and don't have any anger, or just try to compose yourself, take a deep breath, whatever you got to do, and make sure everything is lit up, you know what I mean? Make sure your registration and your license is in a safe space to where people can see what's going on, because, you just want to, I think Eddie's, I don't know where I got it from, maybe your pops, but he was just always saying, like, just make it home.
Yeah.
If you got to
Facts.
remove your pride, if you got to, humble yourself, whatever the case may be, just make it home.
Yeah, that's a good one. Mine's is recent, but it was by the Highway Patrol, and it was this year, probably about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and basically, I was in the middle lane, which you can be, but it's considered the passing lane. So you can only use that center lane when you're in a rig to pass another truck that's going under 55 miles an hour. But because I was trying to go somewhere, I was going 60, and the guy next to me, the other truck driver, he was speeding up and slowing down. He was really just fucking up the groove. So I tried to get by him. CHP they see me. Eventually came and he pulled me over, and he said, "Hey, you know why I pulled you over? You're doing this, you're doing that." And he seemed like he meant business. Like, this guy seemed like he really meant business.
CHP don't play.
Yeah, he wasn't playing around at all. And he said, you know, you were going 60 and whatnot. And I just said, yes. I was just going to take it on the chin. I respected his job. Like, just as a man, I respect anyone, right? But I also know you have the authority to have a gun on you. And I also know that you could write me a huge fucking ticket. So I'm just going to be cool. So that's what I did. And what he ended up doing is he said, "Here, give me your information." And before he actually got my information, he said, I've given people tickets for going 56. So I said, I'm fucked, right? But he got my license, and then he jumped on the back of the catwalk, just looked at the service lines, came back to the truck, gave me my license, and said, "I'm not even going to run your stuff. You're good, man." Right? And I think he did that based on the fact that I knew I was at fault. Right? And not only that, I'm not going to try to combat you. Like, if you're going to do something to me, you're going to give me a ticket, fuck it. Right?
You're aggressive, I'll let you stay aggressive.
Yeah, and what he did is that just took him down a notch. Him knowing that I'm not going to, even if you're coming at me like Mr. Hardass, I'm not going to reciprocate that behavior to you. If you want to be that way, cool. But I'm blessed. I'm thankful. I'm at work. You're at work. So, yeah, I got out of that one smooth. Now, there's been other ones where the cops were pretty fucked up, right? but even in those situations, I had the same demeanor because of what my father told me. Just make it home, So I just, speak when spoken to. Yes, sir, no, sir. And I was good.
Being a kid that grew up in Bakersfield, Bakersfield's known to pull you over for being black on any night, and they're only looking for guns or dope, and then they let you go. They don't give a fuck. They won't write you a ticket. They won't even call your shit into the damn dispatch, because they're literally trying to run your stuff, whatever you have in your car, what you got on you, and then make a move. And, growing up in that surrounding, I never really learned the rules of what to do in those situations. You sort of get this whole demeanor of, when I get pulled over, I just need to listen to them. I need to make sure I got my hands in my lap and my feet crossed. And you keep that mentality of, all right, when they sit me down, I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing yes, sir. I remember a point I got arrested and I didn't even know how to interlock my fingers, and they tackled me.
Wow. I think they already wanted to do that shit, though. They're like, we're going to tackle this guy. They didn't give a fuck how your hands are locked or not locked.
Yeah, well, shit, my dumb ass didn't know it meant like this. And so, I'm interlock my fingers, and I was putting my hands down, how do you interlock your fingers?
And then you got tackled.
Then I got tackled. I was 17, and that motherfucker hit me. And
Eddie and I had got pulled over together.
Yes, it was completely racial profiling. My thing is, I could tell when it's a genuine stop, and I could tell when they're being fucked up. Me and Kieth got racial profiled, and we were both really cool about it. We kept it cool, and they said, "Let me see your license." And no, they said, "Where are you going?" And we was like, "To the gym." right? And it's like, oh, okay. I think it's weird because I
They
think
asked if we were on like parole or
are you in parole or probation?
Yeah.
And then when we started talking, I don't know if it's because of how we were talking. They took my license and just looked at it and gave it back and said you're good to go.
Probably because we were enunciating words.
Yeah, we actually enunciated words. So I guess like, oh yeah, they're definitely not gangbangers. They're not gangbangers. Just let them
Hey,
go.
that's a gem right there. You ain't understand anything when you talk like the motherfuckers on the news.
There you go.
You ain't worth their time. They looking for the motherfuckers that talk like this.
Yeah. It's like we can't sprinkle crack on these guys. Oh man.
But that was probably one of the biggest gems to put out there, is because there's a time and a place where you have to be true to yourself, you have to be real, and then there's another time when you have to be smart, you got to be wise,
100%,
and you got to get the fuck out the situation.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the hardest motherfucker in the room when they got a gun and you don't, and they're pressing you and they're still right.
Yeah.
You sometimes you know you gotta put the pride to the side and you gotta let that knowledge kick in of what you're supposed to do.
Definitely, man.
I appreciate you brothers being transparent and giving the testimonies, because a lot of people don't understand that if you didn't read this article, you wouldn't know that Bakersfield, with the BPD and the Kern County Sheriffs, they're one of the most active killing force in the world.
That's a fact, though.
Like not United States, not California, the world, Craig, the world. And they knocking motherfuckers off since we was kids.
Yeah.
And you know, only thing they do is get administrative leave and get paid for their administrative leave and come back to work and ready to, you know, shoot and kill. And it's so important that you know what to do in a situation and get out. I can't say that enough.
Definitely.
100%, man.
All right, we just went hella deep. I had you guys fucked up thinking about something so hard and so terrible. Now I'm gonna fuck you guys up with my next segment. It's called Impulse Q&A. And it's basically, I got impulse questions I wrote down earlier. I want your impulse answer. It's not as fucked up, but it fucks your head up. Are you ready? You got to answer 3 questions. You don't like my question, it's all good. You may get the same question if you don't like it, but you know, that's just how the game go. But I want you guys to answer 3 questions. Are you ready?
As a collective?
Yes.
Okay.
Question number 1. This one's for Ed. What's your iconic Bakersfield memory from high school?
Iconic Bakersfield memory from high school? I would say it's winning the Valley Championship my junior year. We went 13-0. We won every game. It was the biggest. It was the first time I was a part of a winning culture. Like, that probably has the biggest effect on me to this day, because you know how it feels to be a part of a winning, not just a winning team, but a winning system, or being around people who have a winning culture.
Come on, you got a ring, right?
Yeah, I got a ring. Well,
I had to get married to get one of them. So.
Yeah, definitely. I say it was that. It's probably one of the biggest things that sticks out to this day.
Yeah. Not to go too far off the topic, but sometimes like I think about those type of teams, and then you think back to the first practice in summer, where you're like, yo, we was building something from day one.
Yes.
And, you know,
I went to South High, and you feel me, we had a horrible record. We had a whole bunch of gang members. You know, in Bakersfield, you ride a bus that go through 3 hoods just to get you to one high school drop you off at the other high school. And, you know, I had a quarterback that was recruited by everybody, but he had a bullet in his shoulder, and he was playing.
Dang.
Like, graduated from high school and got out of shootout at Highland High School. Like, you know, shout out my folks, David Gage. I love you, brother.
Oh yeah,
Dang.
But, you know, like, bruh, we had so much talent, but we were more focused on, like, if we were the second team, second string D, we was like, oh, we the Red Raiders, because we got the red things to put on our helmets, and that's how we finna do it. And we was better than the first string, but we were so caught up on trying to be fashionable about being the Red Raiders that we balled out in practice, and then none of this shit showed out in the fucking game, because second string was better than the first string. But as you guys talk about setting the tone, I'm like, man, I was on a losing team. Hey, you know I love y'all.
Yeah.
We did some shit. We got in fights and everything. Like, they couldn't hold us into the street shit, but that shit don't matter when you ain't got no rings. You got to get married to get rings.
The funny part about, and like I said, I don't want to stray too far, but at BHS, you had the benefit of going to BHS is you had the gangbangers, but you also had like the kids that grew up in Stockdale Estates and all that, and grew up on farms and stuff. So there was like a little bit of hood, a little bit of structure, and then that's just like the perfect.
Shout out to Bakersfield High School, man.
Yeah.
Class of 2003.
There you go.
One thing I want to add is Bakersfield, like, they used to have, like, you know how that NCAA investigations for basketball? Mm-hmm. They were doing high school investigations, CIF investigations about BHS. And it's because they were wise enough to say that we're a brand, we're representing this city. Let's get all of the city here and find a way to make it work. Mm-hmm. And you go to any other city but Bakersfield, you go to Oakland, they're literally having people ride public transportation to get to the best high schools, and they're providing a way for them. Mm-hmm. LA is the same thing. Mm-hmm. Why is it that Bakersfield, you're put into this box of where we control where you go?
Yeah.
But that's just a side note. Question number 2, and this one's for Kieth. So you got me going. Actually, it's my fault. When it comes to Mexican food in Bakersfield,
dang.
I know, and I hit you right in the face with this one. That's why I structured this shit this way. What is the restaurant and meal you recommend if you slide through Bakersfield? Celebrities come through Bakersfield all the time, and they go and fuck up the Mexican food.
Yeah.
It's a fact. Like, you can randomly search that shit, and you'll pop up with the weirdest shit. Shout out to Vince Vaughn. Shout out to Nick Cannon. Shout out, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He had a baby out here.
Yeah.
You sure did.
So what Mexican restaurant do you recommend for Bakersfield for the viewers to know when you stop here you can feel like a celebrity too?
It's more of a question for me. Go ahead, Keith.
I'm not gonna say like this place has the best Mexican food.
Oh shit! You getting a disclaimer already?
Yeah, I'm just keep it real because if you go here and you're disappointed, I don't want no. You know what I'm saying? I don't want no smoke. It's not the best Mexican food, but I would say it's the best. You could go through a drive-through. You ain't gotta stop, right? And it's not that expensive. I'm gonna go with La Villa. I'm gonna get the carne asada burrito from La Villa. They got the proper amount of spices. It's a decent size. After you finish it, you're gonna be full. And it's not, you ain't gonna get the whole restaurant experience, but if you want to go and you need something to fill your stomach,
you might see somebody grandma in the kitchen though.
Somebody's abuelita.
For sure, yeah. But I'm definitely any La Villa, really. Maybe not the one. I don't know if it's still one off of Union, but
that one's smack, bro. Don't play that one.
They
got all the county workers that complain so much.
Yeah, some be sketchy though. You gotta. It used to be people going from like after the clubs and they would hit certain La Villas and it'd be like people that.
You know what? You talking about the one on Union and Ming? That's the one you don't go to after 1 o'clock. Bro, you get shot in that motherfucker. You can get your food took without you even knowing. And them motherfuckers so cold as I said your number.
Damn.
Wow. Bro, it goes down. You can get the biker gangs in that motherfucker.
They got a D on the window.
But you notice they're different La Villas.
Yeah.
There's like La Villa Taquiera or La Villa something. I'm like, man, y'all like cousins or something? Let me know something.
Some look more like put together. And then some look just like ran down. But
yeah.
La Villa's the shit. What you gotta say about it? Because I heard you say like I should be asking you.
Yeah, there's so many places that make good tacos. Down the street off of Chester, it's Birria Bros.
Birria?
Birria Bros. It's one off
Birria.
It's off of, I'm saying it wrong, but there's
bro, they don't be making it like authentic. I had to do the research. Like, see, I smoke weed, and the greatest thing you can do is eat food, smoke because you're already hungry, then watch a cooking channel. And I learned about the whole Barilla thing. Like, they let the meat, the cow meat, sit for like 10, 12 hours. So whenever you see Barilla out here, and it's not like that same looking dark red and flavor and shit, like, that's that rush cook. That's that microwave Barilla.
Oh, I ain't had that full-fledged.
That's one spot that make decent tacos. Another one is Tacos de Huicho. Tacos de
that's
Huicho.
Fire.
Yeah, it's
probably the best tacos.
It's down off of Union, actually. Tacos de Huicho. And then another one is...
I have a quick story.
Go ahead.
My boy, Richard, we was in high school together. The only kids from the hood, I was in the AP classes, right? So we taking AP government. And we went to McKinley together.
That's how you try to sound hard when you know you was taking hard class.
Used to walk in sagging. No, but so we studying for AP government, and mind you, I ain't got no money. I'm a little poor kid that you get free lunch at school. But Rich was doing
the best shit ever.
Rich was doing his thing. He'd sell little, little nicks and dimes here and there, and he would always like if he didn't have no money, he'll hit up somebody like, hey, you need some weed or something like that. So he'll sell him a little nick or dime or whatever. He'll get that money. He'll take me with him. We'll go to weed shows, and he'll get like 4 or 5, maybe 6 tacos. We'll split them up, eat real quick, and then just go study. And I just remember like, yo, them tacos.
Yeah, it's really good. Those tacos are good.
Hey, I keep on saying wheat shows. I'm gonna start thinking of some hoes over there.
Yeah, that place is another place called Tacos Buen Pastor. It's way off of Highway 184. Yeah, it's if you take 58.
Hold on, we got a spot in Bakersfield. They got Fire Ass Al Pastor.
Huh?
They got Fire Ass Al Pastor.
Yeah, it's good.
Like
It's
they got the outside where they shave it and all the shit with the pineapple.
Well, they don't have.
If they ain't got that, brother, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, bro.
And here's the thing, I've had some really good experiences there, but the last time I was there it wasn't as great. But for the most part, it was some of the best.
Bro, you talking about
tacos.
where they got the lady making
It's in the cart.
the tortillas in the fucking front?
No, they ain't making the tortillas in the front. It's right next to a truck wash. It's if you get on Highway 58 and you exit on 184,
you headed
to the left. It's behind the Taco Bell. It's behind it by the truck wash. But they make really good fucking tacos, man. So that's another place. Besides that,
bro, they gonna have to pay for if they want to know anything else. They gonna have to pay for a tour.
Yeah. Super Taco.
Ed knows where the fuck to get some tacos at, and I ain't talking King Tacos.
Super Taco is another really good one.
They still got Super Tacos out here?
I'm not sure. I haven't been there in years, but they have really good burritos. Their burritos are really good.
It's fucking
Yeah.
good.
Los Tacos is another one. Los Tacos.
I think they gone.
I think they gone.
It's now La Villa. Oh, you talking about on Weibel?
Well, yeah, that's gone. That's La Villa. But then there was another one I think in Oildale, I think also. Los Tacos. Yeah. It was out there. It was off of, I can't remember the road, but there was another one off there too.
I'm gonna have to, check my maps and check about that.
They make those big ass burritos over there. It's called the Grande.
I've been missing them burritos. That's one thing you should never put in burritos, fucking lettuce. But I'm gonna go ahead and put a stop onto this because I got question number 3,
I gotta
and
pay
this is
some
for
advertising money.
Right.
Come on, bro. Shout out Dogface. He really showing how to use a burrito and get paid for it. Question number 3 is for both you guys. And Keith's heard this question a lot, and I bet he's never thought of an answer until today. But I'm going to ask Ed first, so while you think of your answer.
Okay.
What is one thing you love, but you wish you hated?
Wow. That's a fucking question. Wish you hated. Love, but you wish you hated. I love progress.
You wish you hated it?
Well, no, I don't wish I hated it. Damn, this is something to really think about, man. I've never. Yeah, you've made this question to purposely fuck people up.
And I do this by design. If you guys watch. Question number 3 has been the same.
You know what? I got an answer.
All season 4.
I got an answer. I love food. But I mean, I obviously hate that you can gain weight from it. Mm-hmm. Or a bad diet. So I love bad food, but I wish I hated it because it wouldn't put me in a position where I have to constantly fucking lose weight and continue to go to the gym to kind of try to keep some form of its shape. Because if you love tacos, you love burritos, you love pizza, you love this shit, but I wish I hated it because it wouldn't be plaguing my fucking scale, my weight scale at home.
Yeah. That's why he had 30 taco spots.
Yeah. I just told on myself.
You know what? That's why he needs his own show where he tours taco spots, and me and Keith come along for free tacos.
Big facts.
Man.
Yeah.
Just to piggyback off of what you said, I love to eat before I go to bed, but I know I hate it because every morning I wake up and I'm bloated and I gotta take a grown man shit. And I'm like, but the crazy thing I'm gonna get to is that your body's working the entire time you sleep.
100%, yes.
So you don't feel like you're resting.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I really do love to eat, smoke, wash my shit, and go to sleep.
Yeah.
Because it'd be like you do 1,000 things in a day. It's like, this is my cool down, my come down. And it's like hungry, happy, sleepy. But oh my gosh, I gained so much weight. I feel like a damn supermodel sometimes. I feel so fat. Keith, what's one thing you love but you wish you hated?
I was gonna go with the food or the candy, but I think for me, just thinking about it, it might be staying up late. Like, I honestly wish I had a legit structure. Like, if I go to bed at 10 p.m., wake up at 5 a.m. or 10, and wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning or something like that. But my schedule be so off. It's always go to bed super late and wake up pretty, not early, but I wake up at 9, like
8,
maybe
8:30.
Somewhere in there. But I feel like just reading listening to all the interviews with the bosses, the CEOs and stuff. They always be like, I get a head start on the day. I'm up at 5:30. I just wish I wish I had that to my repertoire.
Yeah,
But
me and Keith have the same sleep schedule.
yeah.
Keith will text me at fucking almost 3 in the morning and I'll be writing back. Like, what the fuck? How are you up, man?
Having a full-blown convo.
Yeah.
You get late nights to early mornings, but you also get this whole understanding that a boss doesn't have a schedule.
Yeah.
If you really want to create something, if you feel like you're choosing the game, you're not going to do half the work. You're not going to pick and choose when I'm going to get up and do something.
That's true.
You're going to find a way to do it whenever it needs to be done.
100%.
Yeah. That's true. Very true.
Yeah, I think once I'm doing this shit full time, I might be a dude that's fucking up all the time. Just because when you love something, it's like you really don't want to put the clamps on it.
Yeah.
And plus for me, I'm going to be an eager beaver because I've worked my whole life. So when I'm actually doing something I love, I might not turn that fucking switch off. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
Man, so many gems dropped on this episode.
Yeah.
I normally tell my guests they have like a 30-round carat drum, you feel me, that they be dropping. But you guys doubled that. It was a 60 carat round drum you guys were spitting today because it was so much power into the gems that the diamonds were coming from so many places. If it hit you in the face, don't get mad at me. Just look at your face and realize you had something change. I gotta let y'all know you survived my awareness segment. You survived my in-post Q&A, and as a reward, the platform is yours. Shout out who you want to shout out. Have them run up whatever you want to run up. Do what you want to do. What you want to do, man.
Yeah.
I ain't even gotta look away. I just look down.
Well, I'll start off by shouting out our platform. Shout out to a Trucker's Mind podcast. You can follow us or me at_Truckers_Mind podcast. I think it all runs in together at the end. And you can follow Keith at K Fings, or he could tell you himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We're going to have another podcast tomorrow. I want to shout out Zylo as well for Contrast Uncut. I don't have to tell you to follow him because this is his own platform here. Yeah.
You are following him if you listen.
Yeah, you see this and you follow him. Yeah.
Oh, shit. Cypher Sounds did me like that. He was doing the drop. And then at the end, he was like, why am I telling them tuned in to Contrast Uncut? They've been watching me for an hour.
Yeah, right.
I got to tell them they're tuned in.
Right.
Yeah. But it's important. You got to keep on saying this shit so it sticks in their
100%.
head.
This is like, I don't know, this is like being in the gym too. When you've talked for this long and to be able to stay engaged and stay on topic, that's like, a lot of people don't have that skill. That's a real skill.
Yeah.
So like when I'm talking about like, follow me at this or follow him on this, like we've been talking for a while. How long have we been doing this?
Hour 33 minutes.
See, hour and 33 minutes. Honestly.
It's more like 2 hours. We talk for like 30 minutes. While the shit
Honestly,
goes.
ask yourself, how many people can have a 2-hour conversation with no dead air and stay on point with each topic? Most people can't do that.
Come on,
that's
I
why
know DJs that can't do that.
Yeah, that's why podcasting is a skill.
And this is my second podcast of today.
Oh, that's right. Keith has done too. His brain is getting emptied out.
My brain is just like,
Keith ain't got nothing but gumdrops in his fucking head.
Yeah, but definitely tune in. Podcasts coming. Zylo, obviously, it's his platform. He don't talk about himself enough, but we got a documentary we working on and a bunch of other stuff. So definitely tune in. And it's the end. Well, by the time this drop, it's going to be a different time. But it's the top of the year, so we just trying to make 2021 the best.
Well, I will say this. I don't like to broadcast much, but we got something special that's going to be going on. We're not going to mention it, but just I don't like to do the whole stay tuned. I'm just saying that there will be something special coming from a Trucker's Mind podcast platform. So when we drop it, we'll just drop it. But expect something different in 2021. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Man, you know, if you notice that this show is a little different, it's a little unique. They got segments over there. I don't do segments like them. And it's like, how do I keep that same energy and close out? The viewers knows it's coming. I'm going to hit you with it. You guys got any questions for me?
My question is, you know, we be grinding. So how do you maintain wife, kids, relatives, and then working sometimes 20-hour days, 12-hour days? How do you maintain that balance?
Bruh, honestly, it's my biggest battle right now. Like, having a family, you can't replace that family.
Yeah.
You can't say, I'm going to have a new wife with these same sets of kids from another person. It's just impossible. So it's like, that alone is what drives me and fuels me to keep on going. But it's also the humbling and brings me down to earth. They're like, hey, you didn't take the trash out this morning. You know, little shit like that. Or, hey, you got to make sure that you taking the kids up in the morning. Because I'm tired of hearing the kids say they miss their dad in the morning. And it starts to weigh on you of like, hey, am I going to be that person that allowed my success to eat me up where I couldn't keep my family? Mm-hmm. Or am I going to be the person that, hey, I'm bringing my family everywhere with me and I'm finding ways to include them? Like, there's times in the beginning we're doing our thing, bro, and I'm telling you, hey, me and my wife are going into it because I didn't FaceTime them. And I don't think about the fact that she has to hear our children for 10, 12 hours of the day, hey, where's my dad? Hey, where's my dad? What is my dad doing? What is my dad doing? And that shit is really what makes me like, how do I do it? And then if I figure out how to do it, then I've cracked a code that I can tell 1,000 other people because I don't know any other married couples. Mm-hmm. Like, I took the leap of faith of like, my father passed away when I was young. My mom left my dad for somebody that had less value that worked for my dad. And so like, I was fucked up in my head of seeing shit. So I'm like, I can't do that. Mm-hmm. I need to make sure my kids see their dad. They got to see structure. They got to see it all. They got to see me fail, but at the same time see me win. And I've been just, you know, tunnel vision, bro. Mm-hmm. That's how I do it, bro. I literally let that shit. Sometimes, bro, that shit will eat me alive of like the anxiety of it. And I'm human. And
yeah,
I don't know if I answered your question the right way, but at the end of the day, like the biggest thing is just rolling with the punches, try not to get beat up, and continuing getting up and trying and trying and trying.
Yeah, I think once you reach the apex of success, your family's gonna understand. But I think that there's always a moment of not so much just turmoil, but a moment where you're just really grinding for what you want, and it's kind of eating away at your personal life or your marriage or whatever. But once that shit starts rolling, everybody's gonna understand, you know, why you did what you had to do. You can't. There's not going to be a seamless transition from family, success. It's family, a bunch of fucking shit in the middle. Then the success is gonna come, and then the people that you care about the most will understand.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. I think on this journey, like, I think people can look at us like we crazy a little bit.
100%.
Like, damn.
You gotta be crazy.
Yeah.
In order, okay, and sorry to take this off, but you have to be crazy to believe you're gonna make it in media.
Yeah.
You have to be crazy to believe your podcast is gonna be one of the best podcasts in America. You have to be crazy because no one's gonna subscribe to what you believe in but you. And maybe the small community of people, like, you know, I believe in Zylo. Zylo believes in it. We believe in each other. But there's a whole bunch of people that are like, oh, they're pretty cool, but they ain't doing shit.
Yeah.
They're going to front on you, dude. And the thing about it is you're going to have to just continue to be crazy and to believe in yourself, and then you're going to make it. Man, I guarantee you people fronted on Gucci Mane and Young Jeezy and T.I. And they all got fronted on. People are not going to believe in them. Mm-hmm. People don't believe in you until you make it.
It's facts.
That's when they can get behind you. And they're included. I believed in him since day one. You'd be like,
but I asked you for that $5 for gas.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, it is, man.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was. It was a point in time where I went to Iowa State and I couldn't afford to be there anymore, so I came back and started working. And I was like, as much as people like, you know, you're the guy in the family that, you know, from my dad's side, the first male with a degree, and you know, from my mom's side, pretty much the only male with a degree and whatnot. There's a couple of us, but I was like, as much as some people had said they believed in me, y'all really would have co-signed on a loan for me to go back to Iowa State, whatever the case. So I was like, oh, okay, like it's just lip service.
It's just lip service. There you go.
Still go get it though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's the beauty of it all, is that because people do not take the time to understand that their actions weigh heavier than their words, that when we're in our situations, it's only those people shooting in the gym that remember the work. Mm-hmm. It's those people in the ride that went to the gym. It's those people that when they win the championship, it's those people that are in the locker room, and you got the other people that are trying to get in.
Yeah.
And you know, it's always the point in your mind of, do I cross this road and invite them in even though they weren't? And the biggest thing to think of is, what do they get from this? Mm. And the moment you understand what they get from this, and then it's what do they go from there? And then you make that decision. Because if you put someone in a room that's not ready, then you know you may have a cousin that just robbed someone that could have did something for you in the future. Yeah. And I've had that happen.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's unfortunate, man.
It's the game, bruh. Like sometimes, I mean, Big Rich talked about it. Big Rich had his whole thing with why am I forgetting it? It's called Project. Oh my gosh. But it's called Project something. But basically what they do is they take inner city kids from San Francisco and put them in teaching them everything. Sports, music, marketing, modeling, everything. He got his first success with 24K Golden. But until he got the 24K Golden, he done did 14,000 kids. And he had to deal with that his brand, Project Level, was getting tarnished because kids that he would bring into these environments with the mayor, with the San Francisco Warriors or Golden State Warriors, they're doing all this, and then these kids are stealing. They're doing all this stuff in the background. Yeah. And you can't break a person's mind that they come from, I'm not used to seeing this, I don't think I'll ever see it again. Let me grab this. And not realizing that not only is it a test to you, it's a test to them, but it's a test to their blessing in the long run. Yeah. Because if he would have gave up on those kids at those moments that he looked bad, right, he wouldn't have this gold moment of, hey, I got that kid, he's Billboard #1 100%. For 6 consecutive weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's what people don't realize too is it's like, it's not the highlights that propel you to where you're going to go. It's the lowlights.
The process.
So when shit happens like that, and you know people stealing shit from you or whatever, it shouldn't really deter you from what the primary objective is, right? If your objective is to help someone or is to reach this certain goal, I don't think that you know there should be a fork in the road that just stops all of it from happening. I probably used the wrong analogy, but
but you know what? That's choices.
Right.
It always goes back to that person. It goes back to that moment of, you know, King Von had a big homie with him. Even though he was acting different that night, he wouldn't have got out that truck.
Yeah.
It goes to Pop Smoke would have had some real peoples with him that didn't want to have their own mansion that was up the street from them, and instead we'd all stay together because we ain't got kids. Yeah. We would still have Pop Smoke around because then it would have been 5 on 5.
Juice WRLD.
Juice WRLD, yeah.
Juice WRLD. Even Juice WRLD, he got the pressure of, he started putting all these different gangs in his mouth on Armed and Dangerous and talking about these gangs, and then these gangs was like, oh, you armed and dangerous, you gonna run me my drugs. And then bam, you see on the 4th trip, he got caught.
Yeah.
Look at Rollo.
Yeah.
I can keep on going from people getting washed into the feds or to rappers being murdered. You know, it takes a level of understanding and reflection. You need people in your life. You need to have this clarity of what's real and what can you do to fix your imperfections. Yeah. My bad to go so damn deep. But that should be weighing on me.
Yeah.
Fucking weighing. But like when we do our shows, we've done tours and like with my brother, and the main objective is the same thing like your dad told you. The goal is to get home. It don't matter where the fuck I'm at with Kieth. We could be in the Bay Area. I could have did an interview at 2 o'clock in the morning, leaving that motherfucker. I'm going home.
Yeah.
Unless I'm like where I'm in somewhere where I'm 5-6 hours that, all right, I'm not going to do it. But other than that, I go home every night.
Yeah, that's what you got to do, man. Home is where the heart is, right?
Come on, it's also where the good bed is.
and the snacks.
Come on, let me don't have me pointing at my belly as I smack it. On that note, you feel me? It's Contrast Uncut. It's season 4. It's episode 49. You know, I had to do it real big, 1 episode before the season finale because these brothers weigh that much. You know, if I could change it the other way around, I'd have Charlie Stetler at 49 and have y'all at 50. But I ain't gonna lie, Charlie Stetler did an interview for 30 years, and he was like, man, the mob's gonna be on us once this shit comes out. It's that great of an interview. You know, I'm just letting y'all know a little insight on episode 49 about 50.
Yeah.
But want to give a big shout out to Uncle Snoop's Army and Bobby D Presents. I appreciate you, brothers. You know, I wouldn't be able to do incredibly dope shit like, you know, like interview a Trucker Mind podcast, you know, put some light and some spotlight on Bakersfield and on some of its most talented peoples out here. Sometimes you ain't got to go on the radio to hear some gems. Sometimes you don't have to go and do all this extra work to understand where the gifts are coming from. They're coming from your own hometown. Sometimes you got to just go, you know, SoundCloud or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, type in a Trucker's Mind podcast, and you're going to get some gems brought to you that, you know.
Not Spotify, though.
Oh.
Yeah, we're not on Spotify.
Why the fuck not?
Purposely. There's a reason for that.
Oh, Spotify, y'all need to run them their money.
There you go.
Spotify, y'all need to run them their money. I'm over here talking out of context.
Pretty much any platform besides Spotify.
Yeah.
I'm Eddie McGee.
It's the boy K Fings.
This is the Trucker's Mind podcast.
I want to shout out Bobby D and Uncle Snoop.
Tune in to Contrast Uncut, episode 49.
Yeah.
This really remind me of some, this really reminds me of some Tribe Called Quest. Hip hop really taught me to give it all I got left. Wu-Tang taught us how to beat the projects and tell my story over beats and it could be a project. Look how it all begun. Bum skibbity bum. Yeah, grew up on that Nas, on that L, on that pun. Old soul when I was young. Crisscross make them jump. Battle rapping for respect, my nigga. This ain't what you want. Can I kick it when I'm rhyming? Be a legend through Ebonics. Was a sticker boy. Felt like sticky fingers played at Onyx. Can I live track 8? Feel like Jigga 96. Without a reasonable doubt, the album turned me into this. Shit, we always had dreams of being money making Mitch. Without jewelry on, hit a jail pose, take a flick, feel like Pac and keep your head up. Biggie shooting juice, coach is still alive.